All right, so I've talked about the white balance, the sampler tool. I've talked about the histogram, which you are going to use in monitoring your white balance. Like I said, this is actually having more blues like this. You can actually balance that using the white balance. Okay, so if I want to try and balance that, I'm just going to take it towards the right, and you can see it's pushing the white and the it's pushing the red towards the blue. You can see how it's moving and it's filling it with red, but the green is not moving at the moment. So for you to move the green, you have to also move this as well and start pushing it. You can see that it's still replicating what we have before. Okay, so let's double click to reset that. I'm not gonna go ahead. So that's one. Then we have the white balance two, and then we have the layers. We have brush 3, magic brush 4, we have magic eraser brush 5, we have the eraser brush 6. So I'm not going to count these two because I'm not going to use it, even this one, but we have 5 tools under that. Now if you want to create a new layer on this one, let's say you don't want to affect this image directly the way you do in Photoshop, you can come ahead, come down here, you're going to see empty layer, fill layer, clone layer. So mostly I use this one, the empty layer and the fill layer. Empty layer, if you click empty layer, if you hit M on the keyboard, nothing, it's just an empty layer, a very transparent layer, just like in Photoshop. But if I click on fill layer, if I hit M on the keyboard, you're going to see that it's affecting everything. So whatever I'm doing on this layer, it's actually going to affect everything in the image. So let's go ahead. So that's the first 5 tools. Now if you go to exposure, I'm not going to explain all this one, it's very much understandable. We'll have the exposure, brightness, saturation, and all of that, so I'm not going to explain that. The high dynamic range, of course, I'm going to explain it now. The highlight and the white and the shadows and the black. Now the black, it affects the blacks in the image. Let's go ahead. You remember, let me do Ctrl Z. This marks the first one we created. You see it's affecting everything. If I hit M on the keyboard, now whatever I adjust, it's going to affect the image. Increase, affect. Why this other one? Let me do Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. Good. Why this other one? There is no mask. I'm hitting M right now, no mask. So whatever I adjust is not going to affect anything until I use my eraser tool to draw on the surface or on the layer. Let's say I'm drawing here right now. So whatever I adjust is going to affect just that place alone. So let me say I want to bring down the blacks. You can see it's affecting the image. Bring down the blacks, bring down the shadows, and it's affecting the image. So let's go ahead. Just double click on this slider, it's going to reset it, or you click on this one to reset it. So those are the adjustment layers you are going to be seeing. The levels, we have these levels, complicated levels, not like Photoshop. We have the curve, complicated as well, not like Photoshop. And then which other one? We also have the the color editor. So the next tool is the color editor. I'm going to explain this tool, and then we move to the last two, and then we're done with the tools in Capture One.